Hi, everybody, and welcome to Fortunate Creations. I'm Kim, and this is a channel where we talk about everything to do with crafting. So, from amigurumi to weaving and anything in between, if you like crafting, stick around. I think you're going to like it here. So, I have decided to try a new craft, and this new craft is using the plastic canvas and yarn to create an Easter basket for my new grandson. So I've decided to go ahead and try to make it myself without using any tutorials or any pattern whatsoever. So I went ahead and I measured about the size I wanted it to be. So each wall is going to be this size, which is, let me tell you how big it is. Let's see, we've got 6.5 inches by 5 inches. So 6.5 by 5. And I figure 4 walls of this would make a really cute um, Easter basket. So I'm teaching myself how to do the stitches. And I've decided to go with 2 colors. So I'm going to do this all yellow, and then I'm going to do a band of blue here. I'm going to do a handle, which is also made out of the plastic, and the handle is going to be the same blue. Here's the blue I've used. You can see the color blue. So I think the yellow and the blue make a nice contrast for each other. And then instead of the fake grass that you usually put in Easter baskets, I'm going to actually take the bottom of the Easter basket and I'm going to feed through little strands of yarn to make permanent fake grass. And then this will just insert itself into the basket. I can put fiber fill underneath it to raise or lower the basket depending on how many items I have to put in there. So I've got my yellow yarn, I've got my blue yarn, I've got scissors, I've got the green yarn for the grass, I've got the felt for the inside. So as I get the sides done and before I connect them to each other, I'm going to put the felt on the inside of the basket so that it won't look like that on each side. Plus, it won't be quite as see-through when I get it all assembled. Once I'm done with that, now since he's a newborn, obviously we're not putting anything edible in there this year. So I am going to actually make my own little Easter animals to put in. Here is just a prototype of one I was playing around with. You can hear it's a little crinkly. I got some crinkly in there. I'm going to make a couple rattles, maybe some eggs that are rattles, stuff like that. So stick with me and I will show you each step of the way. All right, let's do this. So while making this Easter basket for my grandson, I wanted to personalize it with his name. So I had to take into consideration how big the side was, how big the letters were going to be, how many letters in his name, how far I wanted to space it in between. That actually took a little bit of math, but I found that if you take it and just kind of fold it in half, make a line in the middle, you can kind of space it out that way. So all I did was I took an erasable pen and I drew it on where I think it should be, made sure it lined up nicely. And then when I'm ready to actually do the work, I will wipe it off and then I'll know where everything needs to be. I can mark it with stitch markers. I can leave this pen on until I'm actually in the letter and I'm working on it. So this is just a great way. Make sure it's an erasable pen because you don't want it on your work when you're done. Okay, so let's talk about the handle. Okay, so I took another sheet. Okay, it was a full sheet and I measured 2 identical strips. Okay, so it's going to go like this onto the work. Obviously, we're going to center it and it's going to be perfectly center on the work. So I made it double so that, little kids are going to pick things up and this and that. So I wanted it to be pretty sturdy, and hopefully he'll be using this for most of his life. So what I went ahead and did was I made them obviously the same width. Now I'm going to do the needlework and I'm going to stitch them together. Okay, so I went ahead and I'm going to go around the whole outside. So you can see I leave the tail there, and I'm actually going to hide this tail as I go along. So it's going to be easier in the long run, and I'll have less tails to tuck in when I'm done. So you can see it's as simple as that. You're just stitching. Remember those little cards you used to have when you were in grade school where, you stitch the cards together? You had those huge giant needles and you stitch the cards together. This is pretty much that premise. All I'm doing is I'm going in and around and back out over and over and over again, all the way down to stitch these together. And while I'm doing it, I'm just holding that tail and tucking it right in there. Super simple. It's just going to be a lot of stitching. So just keep going all the way around. And there you go. So I'm just going to keep doing that until I get the handle ready. And then I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so I have the handle completely done. And you'll notice that I left a little bit on each end. Now remember, this is the first time I'm doing this type of craft, so I'm learning. You can see my stitches are not perfect in any way, but hopefully someday I'll look back on this and smile and say, you know what, that was my first try. I did leave a little bit of a tail on this end, so I can go ahead and stitch this on to the basket itself without attaching another piece of thread or yarn. Hindsight, again, I'm learning. I should have left that on here as well when I started, but you'll see I tucked my tails. And this is what it looks like when you tuck your tails. Obviously, you can tell they're there, but this will be the inside of the handle, so it won't really matter at that point. So I have one part finished. I'm going to go ahead and start working on getting this wall done. Now, this is going to be the wall with his name on it. So I'm going to go ahead, rewrite the name on here. Okay, center it, and I'm going to get back to you as soon as I have this wall done. Okay, here's how the wall came out. Now you can see that I put his name there in the middle. It's centered top to bottom. It might not be 100% perfect, but like I said, he's a little kid and this is a gift from grandma, so I think he's going to like it anyway. I also did an accent of the blue that matches the handle. Now the handle's going to go the other way, but I wanted you to see how the blue is an accent on there. And I'll be attaching it. So let's talk about the bottom of it. Okay, so the basket is also going to have the plastic mesh on the bottom, but I don't want it to be obviously see-through, but I'm not going to go through the time and the work of stitching it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the bottom with felt, okay? That way, when the basket is lifted, you're going to see the felt on the bottom. It'll be a nice clean finish on there. The inside of it, however, I'm going to take another piece. Okay, here's another piece. And I'm going to make fake grass. Okay. You know how it's really a pain in the neck and really a mess when you give the kids their Easter baskets with that paper or plastic fake grass in it. So what I've decided is I'm going to take, I had this in my Yarn Barf stash, and now it's rolled nicely into a ball. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this. They don't all have to be the same size, but I'm going to cut this into little chunks about 2 to 3 inches long. And I'm going to make fake grass to put in the bottom of this basket. Now, my thought is the more stuff I have to put in the basket, the lower the bottom can go. If I have less stuff to put in, like now when he's just a baby, I'm going to have fiber fill or some sort of, maybe I'll even take some spare yarn and wrap it up neatly, make a little pillow to put under there. So it's removable, but it's not a mess. So that being said, let me show you how I'm going to get this in here. So think back to the days when latch hook rugs were a big thing. So I'm going to take the tiniest, what size is this? 1.7 millimeter crochet hook. And I'm going to put it, and it fits perfectly through here. And all I'm going to do is pull it through like that. Okay, so there's a loop on the bottom and the frilly part on the top. Once I get a full row, I'm going to take a piece of yarn, maybe this yarn, maybe different yarn, and I'm going to stitch all the loops together so that they won't pull out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'll do one full row. I'll show you what I mean as far as stitching it, and then I'll show you some progress. Okay. All right, so check this out. I've done a few rows already, and you can see I have the yarn here on the back, and all I did was pull out a big piece of the yarn, and I took one of my needles, which who knows where I put it, one of my yarn needles, and you just slide it along here, and you pull it straight through, and that way you can pull on this grass, and it's not coming out. Okay. Again, I am making this up as I go along. If you've done something like this before, or you've seen a different way of doing it, let me know in the comments. That'd be great. And I'm not really showing you a lot of detail because this isn't really a tutorial per se. This is kind of just showing you I've learned a new craft, how I am being creative in seeing how I need to have it, seeing what I want to do, and making it happen just by using other techniques that I've used in the past. So I took a break from the walls because that does get a little bit tough on my hands. So I took a break with that to work on the rug for the floor. And I'm going to be working back and forth between the walls and this. And then the next video I have is going to be where we start assembling the whole thing and you start seeing it looking like a real Easter basket. Stay tuned for that. I promise, I hope, that it's going to be cute. Okay, everybody, so you'll notice I have on a different shirt because this took a minute and it's been a couple days. So I finally finished all of the walls. I have already put 2 together with the bottom, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did it with the ones that I just finished. So here they are, and here's how they look finished. Okay, this is the back side, you can see, because you can see where I tuck in the loose strands. I left these so I could sew it onto the others. Okay, and then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue the green felt on before I sew them together. Okay, so all I do, I've got the B7000. It does smell a little strong when you're first using it, but I used it on these and the scent is completely gone. So go ahead and use it. It may freak you out for a minute thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to smell forever, but it does not. So go ahead and use it. And all I did was I went ahead and put one row all the way across. Hold it down because I'm rolling it up a little bit. So I put one row of the glue all the way up, all the way over, and then all the way down the other side. Now, I also went ahead and I did a little bit of glue random here, just so that we're going to know it's going to stick. And then I went ahead and laid this down. Now, this doesn't dry immediately, so you have time to move it around, get it lined up. You can see I got a little bit of glue on the row where I shouldn't have, so I just went ahead and wiped that off. I do the laundry, so I wiped it on my pants, whatever. Okay, these are my crafting pants anyway. So, okay, and then I went ahead and I put a book on top of it to hold it down. You can also use some clothespins. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead, show you how to use some clothespins. So all I do, clip it on a couple spots. Good old-fashioned clothespins always have a purpose and a reuse for them. So I knew I bought them for a reason when I saw them in my treasure hunt. I just didn't know at the time why, and now I do. So here we go. I'm holding these on nicely. This doesn't take that long to dry. So by the time I get everything I need prepared, these should be ready to sew together. So I'm going to go ahead and do this other one. Might as well stick with you and just do it while we're here. So again, down each side. This hurts my hand doing it this way. There we go. Across the bottom. Trying to make sure you can see it. And then again, the top, the other side, and randomly in the middle, just so that it sticks really good. And like I said, the smell is super strong at first, but that was just a day ago that I used that, and it's gone already. So the scent of the B7000, while it's strong at first, it's totally fine to use. And I'm going to go ahead and clip this together with the clothespins. And while this is drying, I'm going to finish up the bottom, which is the grass. And it's really coming along really good. It is a slow process. So it is a lesson in patience, which sometimes I have to reteach myself. Crafting isn't always fast. So I'm going to go ahead, put this back where I had it. And then, so these two are going to set aside, set them flat so that, you don't chance warping them or anything. So I'm going to set them right here flat on my desk. And now here is where I'm at with the grass. I think it's coming out really good. Make sure you put the cap back on the glue. We don't want that getting all over everything. Ooh, there goes my eyesight. There we go. Okay, so we'll close that up. And you can see here, I have this in super tight because I have these strings holding it. They're the anchor in the back. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to finish this. And then when these are dry and this is done, I'm going to show you how I put it all together. So stay tuned. I'll be back. I might have a different shirt on, but I'll be back. Okay, so I can finally say it. It's ready to be assembled. It is ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the clothespins. All right, set that one aside. And go ahead and take off these clothespins. Now, all I have to do is I have to sew it together. So you can see here I have the two sides already sewn together, and I have to add the other two sides to the bottom And then we're going to put in the grass. Now I did the grass like this using yarn so that as he grows up, he won't have to use the plastic fake stuff. There'll already be grass in here. So I figured yarn grass is better than plastic or paper grass. And I can add to it through the years, fluff it up a little bit. So that took a minute. If you're doing this, I highly recommend you might want to think of a different way. It just took so long. And yeah, it was a lot more of a process than I thought it would be. But the end product is great. And it'll be something that he's going to love forever. So here we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the one side here and I'm going to stitch it onto the one that's already here. And all I'm going to do is loop it around the outside and attach it right to it. Okay, just like this. Just like that, up down the side and the bottom. It's going to be hard to hold it and show you. And like I said, this isn't exactly a tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll start it and see if I can give you an idea of what I'm doing. And then I'm going to go ahead and finish it up and show you what it looks like at the end. Okay. Going to tuck this under here. Okay, so you want to make sure obviously the felt faces in. And then, now if you like, I just thought of this. Take a, I don't have one here. Yes. Take a stitch holder and go ahead and clip your side to your bottom. Okay. Like this. I don't know. Can I turn this down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing? Oh, I can. Hold on. There we go. Hey, you can't see me that well, but hold on. Haha. That's a happy medium. Okay, so I'm going to set it like this, how I want to sew it together. Obviously making sure the blue lines line up. And then I'm going to just take a stitch marker, make my life a little bit easier, and clip that on there. I might throw another one if I have it. Yep. I'm going to go ahead and throw another one down here. Holds it together. And that way I can stitch it without trying to balance and hold it together at the same time. There we go. You see I just stuck it on there. Okay, so that's held together like that, almost like basting. You know, like when you're sewing something and you baste it together. So it's almost like that. All right. So now I left a very long tail on all of these. So I'm going to go ahead and use this tail to go across the bottom, and I'm going to use this tail to go down this side. And it's really just as simple as go in. I might not use this needle. Let me find the needle I've been using because that one works a lot better. Here it is. Get this one here. We'll switch that out for that. Make sure things go as easy as possible. While I'm doing this, I have to tell you, I found my daughter's little ducky TY Beanie Baby. So he's definitely going in the Easter basket with all of the ones that I hand crochet. So all the amigurumis that I hand crochet. All right, back to where we were now. Just going to go through here, back through there. And you want to see the seam. So if you want to actually make this an accent color instead of like I'm doing, I'm making it, you know, part of the same color. It's totally up to you. It's hard to show you and see what I'm doing at the same time. But since everything is cut the same length, your little squares are going to line up perfectly. So that's the whole premise of it, is just go down this whole side, one for one, looping it around the outside, and I'll meet you back when I get to the bottom. All right, stay tuned. Okay, one more down and one left to go. I'm so excited. I can't believe I'm so close to finishing this. Okay, so I'm going to use the trick with the stitch holders again because that really seemed to work well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hold all three together this time, all three corners right here. So we're going to go in, and in. There we go. And that'll hold that corner together. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab another stitch marker, do the same thing to the other corner. So I'm going to go in, and come on. I'm going to try to go in, and in to hold it still. So that'll be good. All right. So this gives it, like I said, a little bit of sturdiness. So it knows where it's going. So I know where it's going. And then I'm just going to do the same thing. Go down here, go down here. I do have extra yarn on each end, hoping to make it all the way around. I ran a little short here, so I'll just find a piece and work it in that way. All right. After we finish this, I will get the grass in. And no, after we finish this, I will go ahead and put the handle on. Last thing we're going to do is put the grass in. So here we go. Okay, so you're right. Yes, it's yet another shirt because, again, that took a minute. So I got the grass finished. Okay. Here it is. And I have to, full disclosure, half of it is weaved in like the latch hook, and the rest of it looks exactly the same, and it's actually piled on top and sealed with fabric seal. So it was just taking way too long, and I mean it looks the same. So why go through all that when it looks perfect like this and it's not coming off? So there's the grass. I know, again, you know what? You adapt and create as you go along because, crafting is personal, and especially when you're learning it for the first time. So you can go ahead and make it however it works for you. So, okay, a little warm in here. So here we go. Now you're going to see I have clothespins right here, and this is marking the halfway point. And that means that is where the handle's going to go. Okay, not quite sure how I'm going to do that, but okay, so here is the point where the handle's going to go. And it's going to look like this. Haha! I can't believe I'm almost done. I'm so excited. Yeah, I actually worked on it for so long yesterday that I just had to say, okay, enough. I need to take a break. Where'd my coffee go? I need to take a break and walk away because you can feel, or I can feel when I'm starting to do shoddy work. Shoddy, Shoddy. And I don't want to do that. So I put it away. I walked away. Fresh start this morning. So here we go. I'm going to sew this handle on to the box. I'm just not sure how, and you guys are learning with me, so aren't you lucky? I'm pretty sure now I do have the felt glued on the end of it, or on the inside of it. So I'm going to end up poking the felt a little bit. So there's this goes. I'm going to do this to here. And then, excuse me, my goodness, it's literally early. I haven't even done my Coffee with Kim episode yet. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and move this felt down just a little bit, and I can re-glue that. That's not a big problem. Not a big deal. But I want to make sure I get this handle where it needs to be. And I want to make sure it's on there right. I want to make sure it looks good on the outside as well as the inside. Well, I don't care about the inside. I don't care about the inside. Full disclosure. I just want it to look good here. I'm just trying to figure out. Yeah, I don't think that's it. All right, let me figure this out and I'll get back to you and show you how I figured it out. All right, here we go. These are attached. And no, it hasn't been a whole other day. It just got too warm in here, so I changed my shirt again. So here we go. I have the handle attached. I have the felt on the bottom. And I have this clipped on here because I re-glued the felt. And I want it to hold. All I have to do now is insert the grass. And put in the toys. And there we go. It is finished. I did it. I'm done. And let me tell you, this is a great craft. I mean, obviously it comes out in the end beautiful. You can see your work. You can see how hard you worked on it. But I can also say that I will put this on the shelf as been there, tried that, will not try it again. But you know what? I love learning. I love learning new crafts. And that's exactly what I did with this one was I learned something new. And now my little grandson will have an Easter basket from Grandma for his growing up. So for every year, I will fill this for him, give it to him, and that'll be his basket from Grandma. So there you go. I tried it. It is done. It's a lot of work. So if you're going to try this, I highly recommend trying it. I always highly recommend trying new crafts. Just know that you're in for a long haul because there's no way to do this without doing every single stitch. So my suggestion to you is absolutely try it. Try something smaller and a little less complicated. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned maybe a little something. And I hope you always be creative. Have a great day, guys. Thank you.